Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast, your favorite weekly games podcast. My name is Kerry Palmer, and joining me as always is Jeremy Brakatich.
Hello. Hello.
Or as Jeremy, are you comfortable with me swearing in the first? Is that okay? Is that advertiser friendly enough?
What, are we going to get demonetized?
Yeah, exactly. We could be monetized. Or as we called you in the pre-show, Jeremy Bracket Bitch.
Bracket bitch. What we called me. I called me.
Yeah, that's what we called you.
Yeah. Yeah, because the bracket that we use whenever we do a ranking is called challenge with an O in the middle, which is very dumb.
Especially after you were showing me all of your Plex server stuff and all of the apps you use that are all random names that are like, they're like pirate names.
They've all got very, very silly names, like Sonar and Overseer.
If you are joining us on podcast services or YouTube, welcome. This is normally part of the intro. I'm just going to say now, when you just missed us live rebuilding the stream. And the video feed, because Jeremy accidentally deleted the entire scene that we use for 90% of our shots for MiniMapCast.
Yeah, look, so I had the way OBS works is there's two columns of selectable items, right? There are sources and scenes. Mm-hmm. Sources live inside scenes, and that's how you build what is essentially a stage, I guess, is a good way to say it. And I accidentally brought in a piece of text onto our scene, which was the wrong text that I wanted. And so I hit delete, and as I hit delete, while I had the text selected in the source, the active window, I guess, was the scene, and I deleted the scene without it giving me a single piece of warning. And while we were live as well in the pre-show, and as that happened, I then went to press Control Z while there was technically no current scene active, even though it was still on screen because it was cached. I then went to Control Z to bring back the scene. It was like, I don't know what's going on. And OBS is like, I'm going to crash. And then it crashed.
I'm going to go now.
It was very, very weird.
Very strange. You did a great job rebuilding it. We didn't really lose too much time. I built us out the bracket for the upcoming segment we're about to do, but it was a fun time. All the more reason for you to consider joining us for the live show each week. Just realizing I didn't start my timer. I think we're about 3 minutes in.
Yeah, that's fine.
But let's get into it, because when we do bracket ranking episodes like this in the past, it takes forever. So let's crack on, and the silliness will be here after the intro.
I do have a soapbox I want to stand on just for 2 minutes.
When don't you have a soapbox you want to stand on?
Never. But because I am capital M mad and angry. Except
capital M angry?
yes, I'm mangry.
Mangry.
Anyone who lives nearby where we live, most Australians I think would have seen. There was a bunch of cunts in the city the other day.
Yeah, yesterday, right?
2 days ago.
Right.
There were a bunch of fucking Nazis in the city. They were just hanging out. Well, they were not just hanging out. They were protesting. They were rallying. They were rallying with the transphobes, and rallying against trans rights activists, people who were protesting transphobia and transphobes. The police, the Victorian police, our wonderful fucks in blue, decided to defend the Nazis and stand with them and pepper spray nothing but the transphobes. Pepper spray nothing but the trans activists and allies. I am so disappointed and so like angry. And like I've never been more radicalized than I am right now. I am so upset and angry that this happened. I was in the city while it was happening. I was on the other side of town. And we were walking around, and we were walking down Burke Street to go to some of the shops there, and we saw them there, and I looked at them. I was like, I couldn't fucking believe it, right? Like seeing Nazis in person, it's just so fucked.
It's pretty messed up on so many levels.
Yeah, and like the cops defended them. Nothing's gonna happen because our oh so progressive premier, he loves the cops. He does love to weaponize the cops, and he has done since he came into power. It's just such a fucking disappointment.
It's funny too, because he had that speech to Parliament the other week where he was saying that he's not going to use trans rights as a political football and stuff like that. You think there'd be some sort of further support for the trans community following that when they were so directly...
he put out a thing yesterday saying like I'm not going to grace him with like a picture and stuff, but we all know who was around, blah, 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 because he did his sad dad routine that he's been doing since the fucking lockdowns. And I'm really over it, Dan, because you love cops and you love to give them more guns. And this is what happens when you give the freaks weapons. It's always going to be on the side of the oppressor. You're not an ally. You're a coward. And it's just like I'm over it. I'm so over it. This is why this is why ACAB, and this is why punch a Nazi. Like I hate it. I hate it. I'm mad, and that's about it.
Okay, right, fair enough. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. It was the kind of thing I did see it briefly, and it was kind of too depressing to keep engaging with for me at that time. But yeah, it's is terrible. It's horrendous.
Yep. And nothing's going to change yet. No action is going to come out of this. This is not going to help anyone that needs help. Because nothing's going to happen. And there's that line about if you're in a rally and someone pulls out a Nazi flag and no one stops the Nazi flag, then you are in a Nazi rally, right? And it's the same thing. Cops defend the Nazis. It's like a virus, it just absorbs what's nearby and continues to multiply what it is, which is those guys are fascist.
Yeah.
That's just how that works. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, if they weren't shutting it down, that sort of active Nazism, then yeah, that is all the messaging you really need, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Pokemon?
Yeah, all right. Finish the intro, though.
Okay. How about I start the intro?
Oh, you start the intro. You start the intro every time the music finishes.
I suppose I do start with a bit of an intro.
Yeah.
Jeremy, could you do me a favor? And I think you've got me on your monitors in a different spot to normal, and so you're looking away from the camera.
I can't fix that right now.
Okay. No worries. So I've got to come in with the intro then. If you're unaware... If you may be confused based off the last 5 minutes, but this is a video games podcast. We're going to talk about video games. We'll also occasionally talk about world events. It does happen from time to time. This is not the first soapbox that we have hosted. It won't be the last, but 99% of the time we are talking about video games, and we're going to do that for this episode of the MiniMapCast. The MiniMapCast goes live on all podcast platforms every Wednesday with 24 hours of early access given to all of our wonderful patrons. More on that in a second. If you like what you're hearing, make sure to tell your friends and give the show a positive rating wherever you listen to us. It makes a huge difference for the algorithm and all of that, and it only takes a couple of seconds. If you want to get notified every time a new episode goes live, you can follow us on social media. We are at MiniMapAU on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also Twitch. where we are live every Monday night, deleting OBS scenes, 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, for the live recording of the MiniMapCast. You can also get live notifications in our Discord server. The invite link to that is on our website as well. Just click the little Discord logo at the top of the website there. We always hang out with chat when we go live, before and after and during the show. We'd love to see you there. We wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. And finally, MiniMap is completely independent and funded almost entirely out of our own pockets. To help keep the mics and lights on, you can support us by becoming one of our patrons. For only $5 a month, you get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, plus some extra bonus features we're cooking up, and more. Head on over to patreon.com/MinimapAU to help us out. And remember, it's cheaper than a latte with oat milk. Almost fumbled it at the end. Just face planted.
No, you caught it. You got it. You got it. You made it.
Almost fumbled it like I fumbled the cat before when she tried to jump into my cupboard.
Fumbled the cat.
She was being a right cat. She was. It's time to rank fucking all of the Pokemon games. So the last time we did this, we ranked all of the Mario games, and that was like 68 games or something like that.
Oh, something ridiculous
it was
like that.
Wild. It was more than 64, which would have been like a clean bracket.
Yeah. And a little cute little wordage.
Wordage?
64 because of Mario 64.
Oh yeah. True. This is different because we've lumped in a lot of the core entries of the game together.
Yeah.
I was expecting to be seeing a similar, if not larger, number of Pokemon games on this list. It's actually only 30-something. High 30s, I think. It's a bit more than half of the Mario list. And still quite formidable, though.
And a big part of that is because there's a lot of duplicate games that Pokemon like to release, right? And we
don't need to rank Blue and Red separately.
We don't. I thought about it, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
Now, Black and White, though, we should... No, that's so this is going to be just us ranking all of the games that we've got on the list. We do have a couple of wildcards in here. We've got 2 movies, the anime series. It'll be fascinating to see how far they go. And I
just looked at the first bracket properly.
Yeah, is it bad?
No, it's just funny.
Right. But yeah, we've also got we've got all the core games. We've got some mobile games. We've got random pulls. We've got things I've never played, things that Jeremy's never played. If there were things that neither of us had played and we had like no impression of, then we left them off. So this isn't a completely comprehensive list. Like we didn't put in any, Puzzle League. Pokemon Puzzle League is not in here because we just don't have the familiarity with it.
And you might say, but Kerry, but Jeremy, you did that when we did you did the Mario.
You had no familiarity with the Mario games, yeah.
And let me tell you, I don't care. It's our show. We can do what we want.
Yeah, I just want to avoid the times where we get to like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where you want to do it. I only know this one. Great, then it wins.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, what's our first bracket here?
Round 1 is Pokemon Diamond Pearl versus Pokemon Bank.
Bank. Pokemon Bank, if you're unfamiliar, is the 3DS app where you could just upload your Pokemon to this like decentralized service, so you can use those Pokemon in different games.
It's
you have to pay for it.
It's more than just 3DS because it transfers upwards into it's how you cross the gap between 3DS and Switch. Because you can bring Pokemon across through there, and same with Pokemon Go as well. It's meant to be where you put your living decks.
That's right, and because it works on 3DS, that means you can put all the 3DS games on there. All the DS games through backwards compatibility work on it as well.
Yeah,
and if you've got a DS, you can use those older games, the older DS, because it's got the GBA slot as well. You can make a living dex in Fire Red, Leaf Green,
you can bring
Heart
it all
Gold,
the way
Soul Silver, Emerald, or Sapphire and Ruby through the GBA slot, and Diamond and Pearl all through the DS. So you could put them all onto into a DS game, and you can put that into your 3DS, put it on Pokemon Bank, and into Pokemon Bank, and it can live with you forever. But it's quite the investment, not only of time but also money to do that.
Do you know how long it takes for you to get all the Pokemon through? Because I watched a YouTube video on how to do it.
Oh no!
It is like
just like the literal transferring.
So you have to recatch those Pokemon in the later games via the Safari Park, and
oh my god,
it is so fucking difficult to get some of them.
Safari, because it's not normal. It's not normal battles. That's like when you get in there and it's like, oh, cover yourself with mud, throw a rock at them.
Yep.
You ready to throw a Pokeball? We don't know if it'll work.
Yep. It takes like hundreds and hundreds of hours to transfer them all through, because you can also only do like 20 a time in some of them, and so then you got to go back out, choose 20 more to get through. It is a nightmare.
Wow.
To get a legitimate living dex all the way in Bank is like a wild time investment.
It's like a full-time job.
Yeah. I think we know the answer to this. Pokemon Bank is not a game. I think it's neat. I think it's like a cool service, and we put it in here as a joke.
Yeah.
But I think it's a cool thing that exists. It's like it's a shame you got to pay for it. I get servers exist. I don't think it's that much money. But I kind of wish it was a bit. I kind of wish it was free, considering that Pokemon is the biggest singular property. So Diamond and Pearl.
There you go. This is a relevant time to mention as well that we sometimes lumped in, because like Ruby and Sapphire had the third generation with Emerald, where there's not third generation, but like the mid-generation refresh where they made the definitive edition. Basically, we sometimes on a case-by-case basis lumped those in or did not lump those in.
Yeah.
So there'll be times where they are in together and times where they are apart.
Yeah. Next up, we have Pokemon Fire Red / Leaf Green versus Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
This is fascinating, because Fire Red / Leaf Green are made in the Generation 3 engine, which is what Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are the generations that they are remaking, but in the Gen 6 engine.
Yep.
I think for me, this is Fire Red, Leaf Green. I think
it is for me as well.
Because Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they're competent, but that XY generation is kind of the start of that like proper 3D kind of weird middle ground where it's like EXP share is on all the time, and
it was like they didn't do any of the Emerald stuff, which was infuriating. This was the beginning of the end of Pokemon, right? Like this was the beginning of them putting out dog shit products.
What do you mean the end?
Yeah, I know. But this is the beginning of them saying like, we can just get away with whatever, and like they'll buy it, and we'll just continue to make fucking bang. Fire Red, Leaf Green are really good. That's how I played that gen for the most part as well, is through those ones. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Agreed.
All right, next up we have Pokemon Quest / Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Oh my god. So Red, Blue, and Yellow are the original games.
Yes.
Pokemon Quest, for those that aren't familiar, was like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a mobile game kind of style, but it was you played with these like voxel Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you had like abilities, and you went around and you took out like Rattatas and Zubats,
but it was
like
all
a big Pokemon at the end.
It was automatic battling though, but it wasn't like an auto battler. But it was like
it was like a
it's a pseudo,
it was like a stripped down Diablo.
Yeah, but it was like if Diablo had auto fighting, but you could still choose an ability every now and again. Yeah, like only one, and he built up a party, and like, look, it was cute, and like I played it a lot. And I remember for the most part everyone going like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
it had a decent amount of content too.
Yeah, it's not Red, Blue, and Yellow, that's for sure.
No, it's not, and the answer definitely is Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Yes,
and I'm sure we'll discuss them more in depth later when there is a more meaty matchup.
Ruby, Sapphire, Black and White.
Jeremy?
Yes.
I've never played Black and White.
Neither have I.
Fuck.
Actually, okay. I've played about 15, 20 minutes of it.
Shit. Now what?
Ruby Sapphire.
Does that mean we just kind of accidentally disqualify it? Like we had to include it, but like
in a way, I think like I missed this gen. I mean, like this was the end of the 3DS of the DS games rather. And
well,
then,
not the end, because Black and White 2 came out.
yeah, but Black and White 2 I think came out after X.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so it was a DS game after the 3DS had come out, which was just kind of awkward. I've heard nothing but great things about this story. Apparently the story in these games is really good. I just haven't played them. I suppose that next up on the list of being remade, which is interesting.
Yeah, if it happens. The other thing is they're going up against Ruby Sapphire in this matchup, which is a really competent generation. It's not Emerald, but it is the foundation of Emerald, and there's a lot of enjoyment to be had on any of these GBA version of the games.
I found my copy of Sapphire literally the other day, and I looked at it with its crystal blue case, and I went like, oh, fuck, this was a cool fucking game.
So cool.
The only Game Boy Advance game I ever bought. Because I didn't have a GBA, I had a DS.
Yeah.
And I bought it, after the DS came out when they re-released Ruby Sapphire.
There you go. Ruby Sapphire it is. Sorry, Black and White.
Pokemon Stadium versus Pokemon Ranger.
Now, Jeremy, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Was Ranger one of the ones that you've played?
I have played Pokemon Ranger, yes.
So I'm guessing that you haven't played Stadium.
I have not played Stadium, no. I did not have
and
a
I
GameCube.
haven't played Ranger.
Mm.
So this is just basically you and I fighting.
Yeah, except I don't think Ranger's a very good game.
Oh.
Yeah, I put it on here because I played it, not because I thought it was good.
What is it?
So Pokemon Ranger was a game where you were a Pokemon Ranger, and you were there kind of like as like a. I remember you were trying to catch Pokemon in the park, and the way you caught them was to like draw circles around them and draw different shapes to do different Pokemon moves to weaken a Pokemon, and then it was a DS stylus heavy game.
Right. Bit of a this is the point of the DS kind of game.
Yeah. I didn't really like this game very much. I thought it was kind of awkward and funky, and the plot was kind of weird, and it wasn't that good.
Alex in the chat says Shadows of Almia was better. That was the one that you played, right?
That was the one that I played, Alex. So
yeah, we just put Ranger in here.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I just look. When I played this game, I was like more Pokemon, yay, and then it wasn't Pokemon that I thought it was, and that's maybe on me, but also I didn't really ever connect with the gameplay.
Jeremy, maybe I should download this ROM. Jeremy, the way you describe the gameplay of that game reminds me a lot of the DS version of the movie tie-in for the Aragon movie.
So we're talking about DS. So Stadium is the winner here, Kerry? Is that
Stadium is great. I love Stadium.
Right.
We can talk about it more when it comes to the next matchup, but yeah, Stadium is an excellent game.
Pokemon Dash versus Pokemon Brilliant Diamond / Shining Pearl.
I promise, audience, I'll stop asking this question at some point. But, Jeremy, what is Pokemon Dash?
It's a weird kind of like 2D racing game, like a top-down like racing game where you were Pikachu, and the cover was really cool. And I remember
the cover was really cool. I've seen this cover.
It's a good cover.
Wow. It's Pikachu running at the camera. Others.
It was like it was kind of like, oh my god, like they make like a Chocobo racing for Pokemon. But I look, it's not a look. I barely remember it. I remember thinking
I download this for my 3DS.
Oh look, give it a go. It'd be fun. I'm sure it'd be fun, but it wasn't like a game that everyone loves. No one's like, they should bring back Pokemon Dash.
My goodness, there's balloons, and then they run, and this is absolutely bizarre.
I'm gonna go ahead on a limb and say Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, which we will talk more about later, but I think that's the winner of this round.
Yeah.
All right, into round 2, which is a lot of some additions from round 1 because of the amount that we had.
Yeah.
Pokemon Diamond / Pearl versus Pokemon Pikachu Eevee. Let's go Pikachu. Let's go Eevee. This is an interesting one.
This is interesting because I haven't played Let's Go. But you've played both of these.
I
You're
have
also
played.
quite fond of both of
I
these, which is
am
interesting.
quite fond. So Pokemon Pearl was my first like full Pokemon game.
Yep.
And I also did really like Let's Go Pikachu.
So for me, Pokemon Diamond wasn't my first, but it was the first one it was the first mainline Pokemon game I got after Yellow, which I got when I was 6, except this time I was like 12. And that was like amazing. Like a friend of mine went to the States and bought it for cheaper over there and brought it back. So I had the US version of the game, and like I got the strategy guides and stuff like that. I think very fondly of Diamond.
So do I.
Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee. I was always put off by the catching mechanic. I didn't want to do Pokemon Go catching in a Switch game.
Yeah, neither did I when I first played it.
But you didn't mind it, right?
Then I realized that it's like a really good video game.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because it's got a lot of the trappings of modern Pokemon, where it's like there's like XP share, and it's a very simple game mechanically and difficulty wise. There's not a whole lot of challenge in it, but this was the closest I ever came to catching them all. And
Let's Go.
Yep, I never got close to catching all of the Pokemon in a game, apart from
even
this
just
one.
on a regional dex level.
Yep. And this one made me want to. I think because I think it's a really. I think this is a really excellent idea, and I'm really sad that they have decided that this is not the way they want to go. This is the first game that have Pokemon just chilling out in the wild. You see them, really cool, always exciting.
Yep. And you could have any of them follow you, or you could ride them if they were big enough, just around the world, which was awesome.
Yep. The catching mechanics are simple. You don't fight wild Pokemon. You just catch them, and you fight trainers. It also means that there's not a whole lot of like boosting and leveling up. It's just like, which is why the game is easy, because you can't just go out and like you get XP for catching them, but not nearly as much as you would as battling them, and you don't get like battle practice. So all the battles happen in battles. But this one felt weirdly like not real, but it felt like a real swing for what it really means to be a Pokemon trainer in a way.
They went for something.
They fucking went for something. And and I think what they went for actually really worked in a lot of ways. Is it better than Pokemon Diamond or Pearl?
Diamond and Pearl is hard. We both have such a fondness for it. It's also one of the most competent of the mainline games.
It is.
And as you said, because we missed Black and White, it's sort of that mark for us of like the next mainline games we played were sort of steps down from there on out in one way or another.
I think going one-on-one, I think Let's Go is a better game.
Interesting.
And I think, and you know, I am desperately trying to put my head in this place of not thinking about the fact that Platinum still exists in the bracket. But I think Diamond and Pearl did have some rough edges, which did get smoothed out in Platinum. But there were some things that, and I think thinking about those rough edges, they did become a little bit more apparent to me in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, because that was a lot more one-to-one, and not including stuff like art style and visuals and stuff, but like the structure of that game is identical to the first one. I think that Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee will they are more modern, but I also think that they will age a little bit better. I think the art style in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is great. I love the look of the trainers in that game. Mm-hmm. I think that the world is a really good realization of Yellow. But it also it emulates the feeling of Yellow without it treading over itself again.
Right.
The world of Yellow is really good. The map is really good. The trainers are great. The story is, it's simple. It's fine. It's fun. But I think they also give you like a really strong feeling of I'm here on a fun adventure.
Yeah. I think I have to leave this one to you, Jeremy, because
I wish you wouldn't.
I mean, I really love Diamond. I want to stump for it. I think whatever rough edges it has in comparison to its future iterations, I think that it has a lot of merit. I think Platinum doesn't exist without Diamond.
Sure. I get that. I genuinely don't know. I'm really mad this is so early.
Yeah. I mean, obviously for me, for my money, I'm saying Diamond because I never bought Let's Go. I never played it. And if I was to put any of the Gen 1 games high above any of the others, the nostalgia factor for me is too strong for Pokemon Yellow itself. My very first Pokemon game, the first game I ever got for my Game Boy Color, which was my console. Like there's so much of my gaming history that comes from Pokemon Yellow that like it's not going to win out for me over Let's Go. Oh, it will. Right, Let's Go isn't going to win out over Yellow. If it came to that for me.
Sure.
So for me for this one, I am saying Diamond.
Okay.
I can't.
Are you going to stump for it?
Not if you. Not. I'm not putting my foot down.
Okay. All right. Look, I'm going to say Let's Go.
You are?
I am going to say Let's Go, knowing that it was like 51-49.
Okay, sure.
Like it is very close because I think they both do have the trappings of either not quite learning from the previous one or not existing yet to learn from its better revision very soon. I also think the simplicity of the 151, like while, the Pokemon company maybe goes back there too much, they always will go back to that well. I think that this was the time they did it the best. And I think that
full iteration is quite satisfying.
And actually, also the Pokemon Ball Plus thing, really fucking cool. Playing the entire game with two buttons on that controller and the shake function, really sick, really cool. And its integration with Go. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna say Let's Go. I think that it was a full package when it came out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go. Sorry, Diamond Pearl.
Platinum,
oh fuck! Here it is.
Platinum versus Snap.
Shit. I think this comes down to Platinum winning. I think we look at this and we say Platinum wins. And I'm just going to say it now, there's a strong chance Platinum makes it all the way to the end. Snap is fucking awesome, though. I love Snap. Snap is one of my favorite games.
I've not played the original Snap.
Now, you want to talk about rough around the edges, this is it. Like, sort of like, you never know whether you're getting like like, I can't remember whether they rated them as like 2 or 3 star photos or they just had a bunch of points, but like you never know if you've got the trigger right for getting, or the angle right for getting the particular event. If you got the Growlithe to fall into the lava and it jumps back out as an Arcanine kind of a thing.
Sure.
Like, and you have to get it when it roars, but you can't spam it because you don't have unlimited photos. Like that kind of thing is a bit like, meh.
Yeah.
But it's such a cool adventure, and such a cool concept. I am glad they brought it back. I really want to play the new one, and that's because I really like the old one.
Yeah. Platinum wins.
Platinum does win.
Yeah.
I have a story about Snap that I've probably told on the show before, but I'll tell that in the break.
Okay.
Chat, remind me if you want to hear that, if I don't remember.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue/Red Rescue Team DX versus Pokemon Ultra Sun / Ultra Moon. Now, is this red and blue and then DX?
DX was only the one game. I just copy pasted that and put DX on the end of it. So
okay. Yeah,
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX.
Yeah.
On Switch. So that's the Rescue Team Switch remake.
Yeah.
And then there's the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, which is like the mid-generation refresh of Sun and Moon, except it was 2 games and it was only 1 year after the last games, which I thought was really weird.
It was really weird.
It was like that was the one where we were studying at AIE in first year in 2016, and Sun and Moon came out.
Yeah.
And I was playing through X and Y at the time, which was funny because I just got my 3DS. And then the next year, it came to the same time of year, and I was in the same class with like the same group of people, and Ultra Sun and Moon came out. And everyone was like, "Oh, I'm getting the new Pokemon game." I'm like, "We just did this."
Yeah.
Like it was so strange.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want to give it to Mystery Dungeon on principle because like I've never appreciated Ultra Sun and Moon
neither
conceptually at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt like such a cheap cash in.
Yeah. And also I think that the Rescue Team DX is a really cool remake of the first Mystery Dungeon game because it is in the art style of the art that appears during the loading screens and like the key art of the game, because it's got this really
on the DS.
Yeah, on the DS, because it's got this painterly art style that's on like the back cover and all the concept art, and really evokes this like storybook like
this brushstroke kind of a style, isn't it?
Yeah, and then they made the remake on the Switch in that art style, and it looks great. It looks so good, and they don't do that enough. So
right, where they go to the concepts, yeah.
So I want to give it to that.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Cool. All right, next up.
See you later, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, you cash cow.
Heart Gold, Soul
really weird.
Yeah. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver versus Pokemon X and Y.
This is another one that's interesting.
Not because it's close, but because it's interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
X and Y we've both played. We both appreciate some parts of it. It's okay. It's not terrible.
No. The best 3D Pokemon game, maybe.
Maybe. You like Scarlet a lot, though.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm ever going to play it again.
Sure.
I like Scarlet like mechanically, but like it's a mess. It is a mess. It's a failure of a game.
It's true. It's kind of like, yeah, no matter how fondly you think of it, you can't ever put it above a certain point.
No.
It's got this permanent blotch on its record.
Yeah.
Heart Gold Soul Silver is so widely regarded as one of the best Pokemon games ever. It's the DS remakes of the second generation of games.
Yeah.
And X and Y is kind of like, it's okay, you know, like it didn't do anything that special. Like they were like, oh, look, we're in 3D now and you can use roller skates with the circle pad and the Pokemon are fine. But it's that kind of thing where as you and I have gotten older, as we get older and the generations keep expanding the roster, it becomes harder and harder to recognize what makes each generation special.
Oh, look, that's an age thing. That's because we were at a certain age when this game came out.
Yes. We're also we've played Pokemon enough times that we engage with it less and less each time. So you're right.
Yeah. I also think you're right in terms of like, I don't know how fondly this game is really thought of. This was one of the only ones where they didn't revisit it in any way. Not even because I don't think it did very well, but just because I think I want to say there were rumors at this point that because this was the first game to not include not the first game, but this is one of the first games to not include a second version, whether that was an X and Y 2 or a
Z.
Yeah, or a Z. But I want to say that there was rumors of a Z.
There was rumors of a Z.
And then something happened.
Yeah. That's right.
But I have fond memories of playing this game for the first time. What this game did was introduce to the world the absolute marvel that is Wonder Trade.
Oh,
This was the
blind boxes.
well, it wasn't blind boxes because it was
blind trading.
Blind trading. It was, I'm going to send my Bidoof, because I don't want a Bidoof, into the ether. And what will
You got to pollute the ecosystem.
And what will I get back? Probably another Bidoof. But let me tell you, have I told the story about the Bidoof?
Gambling.
Did I ever tell you about the Wonder Trade subreddit?
No, I don't think so.
So the day Pokemon X and Y came out, I think it was like I was like 15 years old, and it was like, I think it was like a day or two after my first relationship like ended, and I was like a sad teenage boy, and so me and my friends, we got on Skype. And
hell yeah!
And we were all playing Pokemon X and Y.
Oh, that's really cool.
And it was one of those like, what are we all doing? And it was like
I've got 4 badges. How many you got? Oh, I got 5 somehow. How'd you get 5?
But it wasn't even that. It was like I posted about it on Facebook. Like, I'm playing this game, and then one of my friends messaged me like, hey, like, what's your Skype? Jump on with us. And we all jumped on. And I was like, what are we all doing? And the answer I got was, we are all Wonder Trading.
Oh, wow.
All of us, we are just Wonder Trading the same Pokemon over and over and over again for hours.
Oh, my God.
And so as a bit, I went on Reddit.
Yeah.
And I made...
Oh, this is sounding familiar now. Go on.
I founded the subreddit r/Wonder Trade as a bit. Just so I could own that subreddit and then post pictures of Bidoof, because that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, something like 2,000 people had joined it.
Yeah.
Without me posting about it, there was no like viral or whatever, like, oh my God, come to us. And it was
just
like,
people found it.
Yeah, people found it. People searched up r/Wonder Trade. And then a little community formed, and I maintained ownership, and I'm still the owner of r/Wonder Trade. But I'm
looking at it right now. People talking about trading in Shining Pearl.
Yep.
That's the newest Wonder Trade game, it looks like.
Yeah. And I was like, I've ended up making a post being like, hey, like, who wants, like, I'm not interested in actually running this subreddit. Does anyone want to like take over mod status and turn this into a thing? So I just gave it to a bunch of people. And they took it from there. But I'm still the owner of the subreddit. I can nuke it at any point.
Yep.
My finger is firmly above that button. But that was very fun. And they turned into, like, they held events. They had Wonder Trade Wednesdays where they would all trade in, like, you know, really good Pokemon to make someone else's day. It was a very selfless subreddit it became.
It's quite nice.
It's quite sweet. I'm very happy.
I'm reading posts right now. We've got funniest nickname Pokemon. Someone trades Dittos with the name, like, letter U-R-T Impost, a play on the words "you are the imposter" from Among Us.
Sure.
A Guyball from a Terror Raid I nicknamed Baby Shark after the world's most annoying song. And there was, what was this? I just was Wonder Traded a shiny level 100 Darkrai holding a Master Ball in Ultra Moon. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, really sweet. No, you don't get anything out of doing it apart from it's a nice thing to do. So
yeah,
I'm glad that exists in the way that it does. And partly why I wanted to, like, I was kind of hoping that it would turn into something a little bit nice. So I'm glad it did.
That's cool. Well done, Jeremy on Skype.
Yeah, 15-year-old Jeremy on Skype. So
that being said,
Heart Gold Soul Silver is the winner of these two, but X and Y, you're all right in my books.
Yeah, you're all right. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm probably never gonna come back, but you're all right.
Yeah. We'll get to Heart Gold Soul Silver later. In terms of what it is.
Oh, interesting.
Red and Blue Rescue Team.
So this is not the remake that we just spoke about. This is the original games on DS?
Yes. So Blue Rescue Team was DS. Red Rescue Team was Game Boy Advance.
Oh, funny. Okay.
Yeah. These came to DS, I believe, before Diamond and Pearl did.
Right. Yes,
I think
that makes sense.
I think this was the
They were
first.
very early.
This was the first like DS Pokemon game. I think maybe Dash came first, but they were close.
So we've got the first Mystery Dungeon games
versus Fire Red and Leaf Green. The first remakes?
They are the first remakes. That's right. Unless you count Yellow.
Oh
no, because that's just a mid-gen refresh. That's just compared to Crystal and Emerald.
Fire Red.
I think it's Fire Red, Leaf Green.
It is like I love Blue Rescue Team with my whole heart. I always will. It's not Fire Red and Leaf Green.
No. Those games are so good. I hardly played Fire Red and Leaf Green, but they were done so well.
Yeah.
It was such a fun way to replay those games.
Yep.
That Game Boy Advance generation, man, is special. All of those Game Boy Advance games are awesome. They're so incredible. The
Detective Pikachu movie versus Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is funny.
I forgot about the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't interacted with either of these. I played Scarlet and Violet at your house one time.
Yeah. It was bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, man.
Look,
turns out the internet was right.
Out of these two, Detective Pikachu is a good movie. In terms of products they are, Detective Pikachu is good.
Yep. Scarlet and Violet is good and bad.
Look, Scarlet and Violet is bad. like overall, it is bad. Detective Pikachu has both Justice Smith and Ryan Reynolds. It's pretty good. How can you go wrong?
And Pikachu.
Why? It's Ryan Reynolds.
What? Can't believe Detective Pikachu's making it more than one round through.
Pokemon,
oh, fuck!
Magikarp Jump, Kerry's favorite game of all time, versus Pokemon Red/Blue/Yellow.
God almighty. So, for context, Magikarp Jump is probably the Pokemon game I've played the most.
That's so funny.
It's ridiculous. But it's like an idle game, basically.
Yeah.
On your phone, which is quite silly and fun. It's got a great sense of humor. It's red, blue, and yellow.
It is. Some of the most important games in all of games.
I'm sorry, Magikarp Jump. Why couldn't you have gone against the Detective Pikachu movie or Pokemon Bank?
Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal versus Sun and Moon.
So we've got the second games versus the seventh games. I didn't play Sun and Moon.
I did.
I also haven't played Gold, Silver, Crystal on Game Boy. But I am familiar with the generation because I played Colosseum, because I was watching the anime at the time, because I played Pokemon Stadium 2, which is all about Gen 2. So I'm quite familiar with Gen 2 at least as far as the Pokedex is concerned. And I think that they're a really strong set of Pokemon for that generation. Like, they're ones where I know them and I'm familiar with them, but they still feel like new and different.
Yeah.
They're a really creative, fresh group of Pokemon. I can't tell you who came in Sun and Moon.
It's not a great game. It's really boring.
There's
a lot of water. Like there's like there's that meme about that IGN review about the old.
Yeah, but that was for Alpha Ruby and Omega Sapphire.
I know, but like in Sun and Moon, like it's like, oh god, it's Gold, Silver, Crystal. Emerald versus Ruby and Sapphire.
Whoa!
it's Emerald.
So Emerald's the mid-gen refresh of Ruby and Sapphire. It is definitely Emerald. Like, it is just literally the one that was made to improve Ruby and Sapphire. Yeah. There's no contest there. It just is better.
It's like, do you want a burger or do you want like a burger and chips? It's like, I want a burger and chips.
Exactly.
That's so funny that they went up against each other.
That is funny.
Sword and Shield versus Black and White 2.
These are also games I haven't played.
I haven't played either of these. I forgot Sword and Shield existed.
Coin? Oh, yeah. You played Sword and Shield, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
No. I thought you put it in here because you played it.
No, I mean I just put all the mainline ones in.
Oh right, yeah, I haven't played Sword and Shield.
Huh? You want to flip a coin?
I'm gonna say Black and White 2.
Okay, great.
It's one I've had more of an interest to go and play.
I mean, me too, but I feel like only because there was good buzz about the first Black and White. I don't
Yeah.
really know anything about the second Black and White.
I heard the story is still really good.
Right. Well, we'll see him again in a minute.
Pokemon Go versus Pokemon, like the movie Pokemon: The Rise of Darkrai.
I haven't seen the movie.
The movie's fucking good.
Is it?
It's got such a fucking vibe. This movie is like dark for the entire thing. It's like there's a town that has been transported into another dimension. Darkrai, a legendary ghost type Pokemon, is like the Hunchback of Notre Dame in this clock tower. All while Palkia and Dialga are fighting their forever battle above the town. And
on, what is it, Spear Mountain or the Spear Pillar or something?
Well, no, because they're in like another dimension at this point.
Oh, okay.
They're fighting their forever interdimensional fight above this town, which has been brought into it by mistake. And if they continue to fight, they will destroy like reality, because that's what they do. It is so fucking cool because it is this ridiculous cosmic stakes.
Yeah.
While this town is still really quite grounded and like still important to Palkia and Dialga, it is fucking such a cool movie.
Okay.
Like,
maybe I'll watch that.
Like, I've gone back as an adult to rewatch this movie and went like, this is still good. Like, it is so it is got this cold aesthetic to it. Like this it's not noir, but it's towing that line. It does have grim. Yeah, it's got a veil over it, that of mystery and suspense.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Okay. You've made a good sell, Jeremy. Is it better than Pokemon Go?
I don't know. It's a movie. This is a game.
I don't know, says the man who wanted to put the movies in the list.
This is a really weird one because like Pokemon Go, like I've played it a lot. I don't know if it's like really good. Like it's fine.
We do have to consider at least somewhat how culturally significant it is.
Oh, 100%. It was a very, very bright moment.
Yeah, and not the quickest flash either. It was pretty intense.
It stuck around, and I think I'm gonna give it to Pokemon Go. If only because the amount of times I saw seniors on a train playing it. And I was like, you know what? Like, fucking get it, man. Like, you get that.
you get that Zubat.
Yeah, you get that Pokemon, you 85-year-old dude on the train.
How nuts were the moments where... Well, I'm sure we'll come to this maybe in a minute, but how nuts were the moments where you'd be walking down the street and there were so many people playing Pokemon Go, you could tell the people who were playing it by their like posture and how they were using their phone. It's like they're playing, that person's playing, and I was playing.
There were negatives as well. There was some, like, you know, maybe some duty of care that the game didn't take in terms of like letting you know when to get out of certain areas. The algorithm that game was running to populate locations turned out to not be so good in some instances.
Yeah, like they picked like a Holocaust museum at some point.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Look, you're always going to make mistakes in that stuff. I get it, but you know there are things that you perhaps should have thought about. But I think like it's neat. It's a cool thing.
Yep. All right, Pokemon Go wins.
Pokemon Go, and it's still going very strong.
It is still going. That's right.
Pokemon Pinball versus Pokemon Legends Arceus. I want to pick Pinball because I hate Arceus, but I know you're not going to let me.
It's a Game Boy pinball game. It's not that good. It's just one I've played a bit.
Yeah.
I honestly don't enjoy it that much.
And
I do really enjoy Legends Arceus. So you're right. I am not going to let you. I did just want it here for a bit of nostalgia for my sake, for pinball. But
sure.
Yeah, Arceus wins.
Not happy about it.
It's all right. I'm sure it'll go up against fucking... Yeah, it's going up against Pokemon Go.
New Pokemon Snap versus Pokemon Stadium.
This is hard because you've played New Pokemon Snap and I've played Pokemon Stadium.
I think New Pokemon Snap is not very good.
Okay, please explain.
It looks really ugly in pictures. Like, which is such a fundamental fucking part of that game.
Yep.
Like, in motion, it looks fine, but in pictures, that game is ugly as sin, and you failed because of that.
Because it's a game about taking photos.
Because it's a game about fucking taking photos.
That's a real good point. It's funny too, especially because like, you know, we haven't seen that many graphical powerhouses come out on Switch in recent, or like first party games come out in recent like years. The Pokemon games have been the thing to look at, and it's like, oh well, I guess people are limited by the hardware now. And then like Metroid Prime Remastered comes out,
Yeah, right.
and it's like, man, you guys have no fucking excuse.
Or like
that game is stunning.
Or like
on
Xenoblade.
Yeah, Xenoblade 3 and 2.
Mario Odyssey. Like there are like and even when you can't get the most graphically like the most fidelity out of a game, like Breath of the Wild still comes in with like a cutting art style. And wins.
And it like honors their limitations and works with it and creates something beautiful.
Yep. And New Pokemon Snap is like just another entry in the long line of Pokemon games looking ugly on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. All right, we'll give it to Stadium then, because Stadium's still good. I'll get to why Stadium's good when it comes down to it.
Colosseum versus Stadium 2.
Fuck!
Choose between your children.
Colosseum and Stadium 2.
Can you tell me the difference between these two games? Because I don't actually know.
Okay, so you got Pokemon Stadium and Stadium 2 on the N64 together.
What are
Stadium 2 is including Gen 2 Pokemon, basically.
What is it?
It's not even like there's not even like story. It was a way to do 3D Pokemon battles.
Right.
So you had fully animated Pokemon for the whole 151 Pokemon, which is great. You could do just like any match you want and pick any Pokemon and then just do like 1v1s. They had like announcers and they had this guy going, "Oh, it's a one-hit wonder." Like it was like, I don't know, it was good. You could watch Articuno fight Marowak if you want. Like, sweet.
That's cool.
But they also had a bunch of really excellent mini games, like great party mini games. 1 and 2 did. 2 I don't remember as well. Colosseum has its own story. It has way less Pokemon. It's during Gen 3. But it has its own story about how there's this evil team and they're like creating shadow Pokemon. They're stealing people's Pokemon and corrupting them. And you're this person who used to work for that team and then like broke good, I guess. You steal their proprietary like theft tech and you steal all of the shadow Pokemon back from them and purify them and ruin their world controlling shadow Pokemon scheme. Yeah. Colosseum's quite limited in a lot of ways. Like you can only have like 45 different Pokemon in your party because you can only catch the shadow Pokemon. And the other Pokemon are there. Like you could link up Pokemon 3rd gen GBA games with a link cable and you could fight those. So all of the different Pokemon are in there, but you can only play with 45 of them in your team.
Weird.
But I'm quite fond of it. It's a really unique story and setting. That's never been done in Pokemon before, and it wasn't half bad. I would give this to Colosseum over Pokemon Stadium 2. Stadium 2 is good and fine, but it's not the first Stadium, and it's not Colosseum. It's a bit less of a standout.
Okay. Pokemon the animated series, so just the entire show.
Yep.
Versus Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl.
It's the series.
It's the series.
The series, we have so many fond memories of the series.
Yeah.
It's kind of only ever been done well, really. I mean, it's a kid's show. It's hard to go bad, but they don't really fuck with it. They don't do bad things with it.
Yeah, it's either uninteresting because it's a kid's show or it's interesting and neat.
Yeah. And then Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is a fine remake. It's
mid.
It's an inoffensive entry. But it's like borderline inoffensive.
Yeah.
It like barely makes it. There are times where it's just completely boring, design decisions that are baffling. it's great to see that generation in the higher fidelity, but the art style isn't really evocative or enjoyable in its own right. It's just kind of is.
And like, I enjoy the babies. I think they look funny, and I like, and I think that's fun. But like, it's
chibi.
It is like, it's boring.
Yeah, it is boring, which is a shame.
Pokemon the first movie versus Pokemon Unite, the MOBA.
I liked Unite for the little bit we played of it. Everyone else got sick of it before I did, though, and I didn't want to play it on my own.
Yeah.
Pokemon the first movie is so iconic.
I've not actually seen it.
It's amazing. I'll watch Darkrai. Well, no, I'm gonna watch both, but we should watch.
We could trade.
You and I should both watch these, and we'll compare notes.
All right.
We'll watch both of our movies that we picked for this. But yeah, the first movie, this is the one where like people really cried because like Ash
I've
gets
seen that
petrified
clip,
and Pikachu can't wake him up, and it's so fucking sad. And you're like 7 years old holding your little promotional packet of trading cards that you opened and you can't see in the cinema, and it's like really, really legitimately sad. It's like watching a movie where you're following like an owner and their pet, and the owner dies and the pet doesn't know what to do, and you have to see it because it's the whole point. It's sad. And like Mewtwo is so menacing, and they do this whole like research station out in the middle of the ocean, and the waves, there's a storm that comes and they get on Lapras and they're all fucked and it's all going to shit, and it's a really cool movie. I don't remember it particularly more than those like flashes.
That's fine.
But it's quite a lot,
Yeah.
and I do want to see it again.
Yeah. So the movie?
Yeah, the movie. Poor Pokemon Unite.
I'll watch that. All right, we're into round 3 now. So
is the quarterfinals? Nope. This is. Oh, Jeremy, we got it. Oh.
We got a little bit, but we'll keep it going. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu versus Platinum. It's Platinum.
It's Platinum.
It's Platinum. I love you.
We discussed the virtues of Let's Go just before.
Yeah.
Platinum is the best parts of maybe one of the best generations.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is.
It will come up against stiff competition, and we will discuss its merits then.
Blue Rescue Team / Red
DX.
Rescue Team. Oh, the DX version versus Gold and Silver. Yeah, no, it's Gold and Silver.
It is Gold and Silver. Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
No, just Gold and Silver. They are separate.
No, what?
They are separate.
This is Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Oh, sorry, I'm not reading very well. Sorry, I'm looking.
I know they're separate, but that's not what we're looking at.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the other monitor. Yeah, sorry, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It is Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Even if it was just Gold and Silver, it's still, it's those games.
Again, a remake that is quite excellent. We will discuss its merits in a moment when it goes up against Platinum.
Fire Red, Leaf Green versus the Detective Pikachu movie. It is Fire Red and Leaf Green.
It is Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Detective Pikachu, really good. It's not Fire Red and Leaf Green, the games.
No, it's not. It's funny, we're putting a lot of those are we just selected the 4th gen, 2nd gen, and 3rd gen and 1st gen remakes. And
here's an interesting one. Red, Blue, and Yellow versus Gold, Silver, and Crystal.
Oh my god, that just gave me chills.
Yeah.
This is just Gen 1 versus Gen 2. This is so raw.
It is raw, and I don't really have an answer for you.
I think I do, and it's kind of weird. Like, my nostalgia says Yellow, but because I haven't played the 2nd gen on Game Boy, I want to give it a bit more deference, like a bit more benefit of the doubt. 1, it's in color.
Mm-hmm.
2, it's got a lot of great Pokemon, and it's got a lot of great music. It's also got that whole end game section where you do the first part of the game again, and then you fight Red.
Yeah. And like we'll get there when we talk about Heart Gold, Soul Silver. But like, Crystal's really fucking cool.
It is. I think it's Crystal. I think it's Gold, Silver, Crystal. Because Red, Blue, and Yellow, the other thing is they're so unbalanced. Like, they didn't actually know how to balance their game yet.
Yeah. I'll give it a Crystal.
like how the special stat was just one stat. It wasn't special attack and special defense. It was just special.
Emerald versus Black and White 2.
It's Emerald.
It's Emerald. Mostly because we haven't played Black and White 2, but also it's Emerald.
Yeah, probably is Emerald either way.
Pokemon Go versus Pokemon Legends Arceus.
What's your vote for this, Jeremy? Is your hate for Arceus that strong, or?
I mean, I think Go's a better game.
You do?
Yeah, that's because I think Arceus is a bad game.
I don't think Arceus is a bad game, but I will accept Go ahead of it.
Do you want to have your Arceus moment?
Yeah, I'll have my Arceus moment.
I need to let you have it.
Arceus, it has the appeal that I think you found with Let's Go, of that, like, you're not battling every Pokemon. You know, you're just in the world catching it. For me, the realism comes from the real time. You know, there's no cut. There's no cut between battles. There's no cut between catching and fighting. You catch the Pokemon in just the world. You just throw Pokeballs at Pokemon and they get caught or they don't. Like, there's something really special about that. It's a great loop. I think it's an excellent idea of the region, of the Hisui region, the Gen 4 region, but in like 1,000 years in the past. I really, really, really enjoy it.
You mean Sinnoh?
They call it the Hisui region in Arceus.
Why?
Because that's what it's called back then. I don't know why. You know, back when we called the supercontinent, why did we call it that then?
Yeah, we definitely called it that. We called it that.
That's what we called it.
Yeah, we knew it was going to change at some point. It's like back in the 1910s when we called it World War One.
Exactly. You get it. It's like when Pokemon came out with their first movie and they called it Pokemon the first movie.
Damn, you're right.
It's not particularly pretty. It's funny because I don't think the art direction is as strong as Scarlet and Violet, but it is executed better than Scarlet and Violet. Like, even although it's still ugly, like it's just kind of terrain generated and whatever, it still looks better than Scarlet and Violet. And I still want to spend more time in the world of Arceus, of Legends Arceus, than I do Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, I constantly am thinking, oh, is today the day I go back? Not yet. But like, I haven't struck it off my list. I am going to go back to Arceus. It is not gone.
Okay.
No, I will. Because you know why, Jeremy?
Okay.
Because I want to catch more Pokemon and then sort them. You remember how I was going through that and I went through like sorting them for 2 hours and then I wanted to catch more and do it all over again? I want to do that again.
I can't believe that game made me find catching just so pointless.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's like, just like catch 40 this Pokemon. Like I feel nothing. I feel hollow. I feel empty. Like games look like Dookie.
Better than Scarlet and Violet.
It is, but like one lump of shit is better than 2 lump of shit. It's like the opposite of burger versus burger and chips.
That's true.
Stadium versus Coliseum, Kerry. This is all you.
This is hard.
This is all you.
This is hard because, like I said before, Stadium doesn't have any plot, but it's got the full generation of Pokemon, really robust minigames, and the fact that I left off before was with Stadium, it came with the adapter that you could put in the back of the N64 controller, and you could put your Game Boy game in there and play red, blue, or yellow on the telly. That was incredible, and was how I got through the majority of Yellow when I was so young. Like that was like the original version of the Switch. Like not even kidding. And it was 20 years before the console. But it doesn't have any story. It like the you can get pretty bored of the combat because there's really no structure to it. Coliseum has that structure, but it's missing so many of the Pokemon. Its design is pretty rough around the edges. There are times where you just got to go through like a battle tower, which is just 100 battles, and there's next to no checkpoints. Like it's fucked. It's got a really messed up difficulty curve. A friend and I, he used to come over on the weekends, or I used to go to his, and we'd play it basically every weekend or every other weekend. And there was a good month of playing it, like 4 or 5 hours each week, and where we were stuck because someone had dropped an item on the ground and we couldn't tell that it was an item because it was just like a flash. It looked like a raindrop on the ground. It looked like, but it was the key to the train to the final area. Like, it was, it's rough. I think I have to give it to Stadium because I think it's slightly more complete, more Pokemon to fight with, and the excellent mini games and the Switch-like Game Boy feature is so amazing compared to Colosseum, which is okay, but a bit bare bones by comparison.
Between these two games, sorry, you're giving me Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Between these two games, which one do you think deserves a Switch version?
I would love to see Switch version. Oh my god, that's really hard. I think the one that would adapt the best would be Stadium. I think Colosseum would struggle because it is like one of the first 3D Pokemon games.
Right.
We've had better since then. Like Scarlet and Violet, I think, is a better experience than Colosseum is. Colosseum's such an oddball. It's so strange in so many different ways.
Yeah.
That I struggled seeing it being received positively if it was just wholesale brought straight forward to the new system.
Right. Pokemon the animated series versus Pokemon the first movie.
I want to say the anime.
I think
like the movie doesn't
too.
exist without the anime, you know?
Yeah, and like the anime, like it's only like Ash just did it recently.
And, I know, it's funny.
And like I haven't watched that show since I was a kid.
Yeah, me either. Well, no, I rewatched some when I was like 16.
Right. But I was excited to hear that.
I know, totally. It's
that was
funny,
like,
isn't it? How they're like, oh, the Ash's saga is finally coming to an end. He finally won.
And I was like, oh my god. I was like proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the show.
Right, the animated series it is. All right, now we're in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Pokemon Platinum versus Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Oh man, it was going to happen at some point.
I know, but I was hoping it was going to be the end. I don't
You will always stump for Platinum. Or are you stuck here?
I am stuck.
Because this is the mid-generation refresh of Diamond and Pearl, one of our favorite games that you've played. I haven't played Platinum, and you love Platinum. But Heart Gold and Soul Silver is the remaster of Gen 2 made with inside the Diamond and Pearl engine.
These are the two best Pokemon games.
Ah.
Yeah, like these are like this is Empire Strikes Back and Andor. Like I don't like how do I don't know how to choose these.
Yeah. If I was to make this decision on my own, I would have to come up with some outside influence, right? Because I haven't experienced them for myself. And I would say that Heart Gold and Soul Silver has had the more enduring legacy compared to Platinum. I feel like Platinum came and went in terms of public reception. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it is better or worse. But if I were to do this for myself, that would be all I would have to go off.
I would say... Oh, it's so difficult. I think... I don't fucking know, dude. It's so hard, right? Because Platinum is it did such an incredible job of like taking a Diamond and Pearl, which is like, you know, it is vibes, dude. It is feelings and like a region that like had like a tone, and then
a really cool story too, and also all of their
really cool story. The setting is cool. Like, you know, it was snowy, and there was the three lake Pokemon, and there was this mythical Pokemon that lived in the mountains, and then they did, like, how much do you know about Platinum? Do you know, really?
I know there's that whole other second dimension thing they do on Spear Pillar.
They do,
where it's like
a platforming section in a Pokemon game, but it's good.
Yeah, and it's like gravity defying, right? It's like up the
Yeah.
walls and on the roof, and
It's like the best Pokemon gym to have ever existed. And it works as well because it feels like a test. It feels like a trial, but it feels like a game that has been training you to do this the whole time. And
right,
then
that's cool.
and then you fucking fight Palkia and Dialga as they're next to each other. And then,
Really?
yeah, they are standing next to each other, and then you fight fucking Giratina. And it is ungodly. But Heart Gold and Soul Silver have got the entire first region, and
yeah, when you finish the second game,
when you
Gold and
finish the
Silver,
second game, you go to the top of the mountain, and Red is up there, and there is no moment in Pokemon that has smashed as hard as that does.
yeah, where you have to fight the champion of the first game, who, if you played them, was you.
It's you, and you've got Charizard. Well, he's got Charizard, and he's got Venusaur, and
Blastoise,
and he's got Blastoise, and
it doesn't have Pikachu, right? It's not Ash, it's Red.
It's not Ash, it's Red, and Red shows up in the anime.
Oh,
there's an anime about Red.
Yeah.
I think it's Heart Gold Soul Silver, but it's just.
Oh my fucking god, really?
It is so fucking close. It is so fucking close.
I never thought you would have picked anything above Platinum.
Look, Platinum is my favorite, but I think Heart Gold Soul Silver is overall just a little bit of a better game.
My goodness.
If only because the bones of the originals is better than the bones of Diamond and Pearl.
Wow.
Platinum does a job of perfecting Diamond and Pearl, but it's a better perfect in Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
All right. Well,
it's
there you have it.
It's so fucking close.
Oh, you choose the wrong one. Wait.
Oh, sorry.
you clicked Platinum. Your heart. Your heart wasn't ready to let it go.
Fire Red Leaf Green versus Gold Silver Crystal.
For me, this is Fire Red Leaf Green, because as good as Gold Silver Crystal are, Gen 3 is better on the GBA, and those first games are great. We've been saying it this whole time. Yeah.
Emerald versus Go. It's Emerald.
It's Emerald.
Yeah. Go.
Next to nothing beats Emerald.
Yeah, and great run, Go. Really great run.
Yeah, you are a fascinating game, Go, but you're also not really a Pokemon game.
Stadium versus the animated series.
Oh, fuck, man. I think it's the anime.
I think it's the animated series. I don't like it.
Yeah, Stadium's great. If you grew up with a 64 and Pokemon back then, you'll love Stadium, but you'll also love the anime. I think the anime wins.
Heart Gold Soul Silver versus the Fire Red Leaf Green.
It's Heart Gold Soul Silver.
It's Heart Gold Soul Silver. Fire Red Leaf Green is great, and it's probably the best way you can play the original games. But it's not Heart Gold Soul Silver.
I don't know, man. Yellow's pretty good.
Emerald versus the animated series. It's Emerald.
It is Emerald.
It's Emerald.
Not much comes up against Emerald. Turns out only one thing comes up against Emerald.
But before we go there, we have the third place. So there's 2 matches left. There's the third place playoff between the animated series and Fire Red Leaf Green. This is almost blasphemous.
That's a great match, honestly.
It is.
That's an excellent match.
It is.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I think it's Fire Red Leaf Green. But
yeah, I think you're right.
But
I think I'd be more torn. I would love it. The only way this matchup could be better is if it was Yellow versus the animated series.
Yeah.
Because the anime was inspired by the games, and then Yellow was inspired by the anime. Didn't
the anime come first?
No. Blue and red and green came first in 96, and then the anime was 98, and then Yellow was the special Pikachu edition, because Pikachu was special at that point because of the anime.
Right.
And it was also Game Boy Color was out at that point, so Yellow had a bit more Game Boy Color integration than the others, I think. I might be wrong on that, though.
The first episode was 97, but yeah, the first games were 96.
Right.
And the cards were 95.
What?
Or-
No, they weren't first. The games were first.
Are you sure?
Yes.
First Pokemon anything.
It was Pocket Monsters.
Right, okay. That was when it was Pocket. Okay, right.
Yeah. In Japan. That was like the translation.
Yeah.
So, third place was
Fire
Red, Leaf Green, head of the anime.
And finally, Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver versus Emerald.
I will say this is a more interesting final match in some regards because it's not remake versus remake or like the same generation versus same generation. Like I do appreciate this is we've got a Game Boy Advance game against a DS game.
Yeah.
They are two mid-gen refreshes though. I would say some of the best mid-gen refreshes.
Oh yeah, Emerald is an incredible video game. I don't actually think Emerald is better than Platinum though, and I think Heart Gold Soul Silver wins for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Emerald is more iconic than any other Pokemon game. But when it comes to better, I don't think it is better than any of the DS games in terms of gameplay, especially not the best of the DS games, which is what we're looking at here.
Yeah. Emerald is the best of the Game Boy Advance games, I think, for me.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they never made a remake of it.
It's brutal, honestly.
Yeah. Because, like, beyond all of the stuff that was included in Emerald that made it better than Sapphire and Ruby,
yeah,
Rayquaza's fucking cool.
Rayquaza's one of the coolest Pokemon, full stop, and will always be one of the coolest Pokemon.
So, Rayquaza is the final boss of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, the first one. And you... Like the entire game is you traveling to different like zones and you go like
You're
up
like a tiny Charmander.
Yeah, right. And it's like and you're going through like there's like a fire mountain where you fight Moltres, and then there's like an ice zone where you fight Articuno, and there's a lightning mountain where you fight Zapdos, and then you go into this volcano where you fight what's his name? Groudon. And then you go and you go to the depths of the ocean and you fight Kyogre, and then the final boss is you traveling up a sky cloud tower to defeat Rayquaza, and it is so cool.
That does sound really cool.
It is really, really cool. And then you fight him, and then you end up talking it out, and it's really sick.
Yeah.
It's Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And,
yeah, it is.
And even if it's just because of Red, that part fucking whips.
Yeah. You know what this really makes me want to do, this whole bracket? It makes me want to load up my 3DS and just play Pokemon after Pokemon until I can't bear it anymore.
There we have it. The winner is you, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Wow, that's a bit of an upset. I didn't see it making that far, Jeremy.
Really?
I didn't see it winning.
I did.
I've never heard you say that you liked it more than Platinum.
I don't like it more than Platinum, but I think it's a better game.
Well, I've never heard you say that either.
Like, it's really close for me.
Yeah.
It is really, really close for me.
Oh, wow. That was harrowing.
Yes, it was.
Jeremy, I have a question for you. Do we just end the podcast here, or do you want to do a brief what we've been playing?
I think a brief only because there's one game I want to talk about.
Okay. All right. Should we do a quick break or just not even bother?
Yeah, let's do a quick break just so I can get some more water.
All right. We're going to go on a quick break because we've been going for 85 minutes. We'll be back in just a brief moment once Jeremy presses the button.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I wasn't ready.
To talk about Diablo and something else. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We've been discussing my favorite Pokemon Snap stories, pictures on the side of the road, and cats. That's what we were talking about in the break.
Pretty much.
Whilst eating chocolate. What did you have food just then, or did you just stand up and stretch?
No, I just stood up and stretched.
Yeah, I did that too.
I had a whole chunk of cake before we started, and it's like still sitting,
Still in there.
yeah, still there.
Remember the first like 10 minutes after you had that where you like couldn't speak for more than 20 seconds?
It was so decadent. So strong, moist, heavy, dense cake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen you eat a lot of things, Jeremy, but I don't think I've ever seen you just pull out cake from stage right.
It was at my desk. It was just there.
No, I get it, but like I don't think I've ever seen you just like pick up and have some cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was the first time I ever went to Costco with one of my old housemates.
Oh.
I bought like a 5 kilogram Black Forest cake. It was huge. It was fucking massive.
Tall or wide or both?
Both. It was just huge.
It was an event cake.
Yes, and I bought it
because a catering cake.
Yes, and I bought it because I wanted it, and I cannot tell you how fucking good it was. And it was one of those things where I was just like, I put it on the table and I said to all of us, like, just whenever you want a piece, just take a piece.
Yeah.
And we slowly all went through it over like maybe.
Was this with your last house or your house before last?
First house.
Yeah.
And it was like, it lasted probably about 2 months. Like, it was fine.
That is not okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
Baked goods lasting for 2 months?
It's a Costco cake, right? So there was a level of like...
chemical.
Well, I mean, there was just a level of preservation that would have been involved in the creation of this cake. Plus, like, we kept the thing on it, and it wasn't summer or it wasn't winter. It was spring, and so it wasn't like... No, it wasn't. It was autumn, right? So it was like cooler, but it wasn't like...
Wowie.
It was fine. Maybe it was a month and a half, but like it lasted like a chunk.
How far did the 4 of you get through it?
No, we finished it.
Oh.
What?
Oh, I'm reeling from this revelation. I'm reeling from this story.
Kerry, you famously don't eat a lot of food.
I'll eat a decent amount of food. I'm a slow eater.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
You're a fast, hard eater.
Yeah, I'm a big fast eater. I'll eat a lot of food.
You don't like hard and fast eater.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
You don't eat hard.
I'll eat a lot of food, and I'll eat a lot of food fast.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because like I don't know why we're riffing on this, but whatever. Here we are. But there are times where we sit and eat together, and it's always like, oh, Jeremy, it's so fast. Look how much done you are compared to me. But then there's times where, yeah, that's right. Who chews noodles?
So
no
true.
Wonder Jeremy eats so fast.
Very true.
That's so disgusting. But then there's times where I eat with other people, and it's like, oh no, I'm just slow. I'm just slow at eating. I'm just a slow eater.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, like we'll make jokes that like in the time that it takes for Kerry to go and get his food, I would have gotten it, eaten it, and then continue playing games. But it's also like kind of true. Like there are often times where we'll eat dinner over Discord, like while playing a game, and like Kerry will jump out for like 3 or 4 games of Apex, and I'll start and finish eating in between. It takes the time to find the match.
Yeah, exactly. Like you take like half a match to finish like a burrito and nachos, and when I did that last month, it kept getting the Kerry, you ready yet? Like, and I'm like, no, not ready yet. Oh, funny. Sam in the chat is just wondering what story we're talking about. Jeremy brought a 5 kilogram Black Forest cake from Costco.
Yeah.
At one point. We'll talk to you a bit more about it in the break. So we're gonna get through this second bit of the podcast fairly fast.
Yeah.
Because we went for ages on the Pokemon topic, which like who could have seen that coming?
Who could have seen that?
So what we're going to talk about then, do you mind if I come in with my beta impressions, Jeremy?
Yeah, go for it.
So this weekend has been the Diablo 4 Open Beta Early Access Weekend, which is a fancy way of saying closed beta. This is the so there's 2 weekends of Diablo 4 beta access. There's this weekend that's just passed, the like 17th and 19th of March, and then the next weekend. The second later weekend is fully open. Anyone can download it. It's free. You can just download it and play it. This first one is for people who like pre-order the game and get like I've got access for work, or if you bought the double down from KFC in the States and you get a beta code.
So silly.
So strange. So I've been playing Diablo 4. And it's interesting because I've never played a Diablo game.
Like, at all?
Ever.
How?
I didn't ever buy it, and no one else around me ever bought it either.
Oh, but that's not quite true.
Well, not in the way that I was playing it.
All right. Okay.
So I guess I know enough about the game to know what the gameplay is, and like I'm not really getting many surprises there because I know what the gameplay is based on. Like Diablo is so, what do they call it, an action RPG?
Yeah.
Like it is the defining version of that. It is what it is, which is that top-down isometric, dare I say it, point and click RPG where you are a mage or a warrior or a rogue and you kill skeletons and whatever, plunder things. It's a loot 'em up. You get better gear.
It's not a loot 'em up because that means shoot 'em up.
Well, I didn't say shoot 'em up, did I?
Yeah, but that's where that comes from.
It's a looter, and it's all about getting, your blues and your golds and your legendaries and your different color gear, and it all have different stats, and they all go towards different resistances and builds and whatever. And you plunder the tombs and you sell all your stuff and you get better gear and you go and plunder more tombs.
Correction. I was thinking of the phrase schluter, which I hate. I've always hated that phrase.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, it's real bad. Like Destiny is a schluter, like Borderlands is a schluter.
Oh, I thought they were loot 'em ups.
Well, they are, but like schluter is like shooter looter.
Yeah, because a shoot 'em up is a shmup.
Yeah.
And a shmup is a 2D genre, isn't it?
Yeah. Shmup is like a
Galaga.
Yeah.
Anyway, Diablo.
Fucking genres, man.
It's so useless, but also useful. It's Diablo. It's interesting because like I knew the gameplay, but I didn't really know what else to expect. This game's dark, man. Like Diablo's so dark. And like I always knew it was like an adult game, like MA, or like Diablo 3 was R-rated, I think. But like
yeah, I think.
And like I never really vibed with it. People say like, oh, the story's this and that and whatever, because whenever you just see it when you don't know about it, like when you just watch like a review of Diablo 3, it's like, oh, it just looks like you're walking around shady forests for ages and then you get stronger gear and new abilities and you keep going like that forever.
It's fucking great.
It is. But man, the story goes hard. So fucking hard. Like you walk into a dungeon and the walls are covered in like blood tendrils and there are demons and monsters everywhere and they go, it's not just like set dressing. They really set the stage for this like demonic occupation of Sanctuary, the world in which you live. And it's like, and how this archdemon Lilith is like corrupting whole towns and parents against children, and you see each of those stories play out, and they're all fucked up. And I just wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, this is like,
it's Diablo, right? Like I'm playing it, I'm like, this must just be Diablo.
And it's like, and you know, like I think this means less now to say, but like this is also like this is a high Blizzard.
Yeah,
you know, this
feels it.
This is like the Blizzard of old.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it. There's so many old like layover mechanics that are foundations for the genre of a looter, like stuff and layovers from it being from their top-down strategy game like origins as well, like how you can like teleport back to base and then there's your teleporter in town and you walk back through that. That reminds me a lot of teleporting in MOBAs and teleporting in strategy games, like, or there's even just the top-down perspective of it all. But even the way the abilities are laid out, where it's like you got your left and right click do like your main and secondary attack, but you can have them be any ability, and then all your other attacks are on 1, 2, 3, and 4. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, oh man, do I need to get a mouse with a numpad on the side of it to use all my abilities on my mouse? And it's like, oh, that's what the mouse is for. It's for Diablo. It's for Diablo and WoW. That's what that kind of mouse is for.
Yep.
Like, it's so classical in a way. Even although I haven't played any of the games, I can feel its foundation in like old PC gaming history. It's fascinating. The gameplay's funny. I'm playing it, and there's 2 like world tier options, so difficulty options basically, in the beta, which is like 1 and 2. And I did the first hour on 1, and then the game crashed on me, and and so I didn't go back to it until later. But when I was coming back to it the second time, I was thinking about how my health never really got down below like 1/6 depleted. Right. I was like, all right, well, that's too easy. That is just too easy. I need it to be more challenging than that. So I bumped it up to world tier 2.
Baby game for babies.
Yeah, very, very. And, you know, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, babies are cool.
Exactly.
I got you.
You really did. You really surprised me with that one.
Yeah.
But I'm playing it, and even on World Tier 2, like maybe it just needs to be World Tier 3, and I'll be happy, because I'm still dying in boss fights on World Tier 2. But I'm playing through World Tier 2 and just like navigating the world, and like everything feels kind of disposable. Like they throw so many dozens of enemies at you. And a lot of them kind of go down in like 1 or 2 hits. Like a lot of the really weak ones that just like come at you. And so I'm going through it, and then I'm picking everything up, and I'm breaking all the boxes that I find, and I'm defeating all the enemies that I see, and then I go to the next room, and there's a bigger enemy there, and I hit him with that. But like, it feels like some of the most mindless, or some of the most well-refined mindless gameplay I've ever experienced. Like, it's the most polished don't think about it game I've ever seen.
Right.
More so than a roguelike, because I'm not really making any like run decisions. I'm hardly making any build decisions because it's just a beta. And that's, you know, not the beta's fault. So it's just like, oh, I got a whole bunch of new gear. That's worse, that's worse, that's worse, that's better, I'll equip that. That's worse, that's worse, that's worse, that's worse. Oh, that's a different color. Oh, it's worse anyway. Oh, weird. Okay, I'll discard that later. That's worse, that's worse, that's worse. Okay, next. Going on. Like, stab, 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 slash. Like, big area of effect attack. Oh, I got knocked down. My health is at half. I'll use 1 potion. Oh, the thing is dead. Move on. Like, and is that for hours?
Yeah, like, this is a game that you sink hundreds of hours into.
I know. I get that. And it is quite refined, but I definitely feel like I get it, and like there's not that much more they can show me for the gameplay to really do much more for me. Like, it's the kind of thing I definitely wouldn't, I could see myself not getting to the end of. They've refined it quite well. I think it's the like Destiny equivalent of this genre, where like the core mechanics feel so fucking solid and good. Like, it just is excellent to do the basic things. But the game is so big, and there's so many enemies to kill, so many dungeons to plunder. But at the end of the day, it's just clicking skeletons and picking up the gold and killing skeletons and picking up the boots. I don't know. There's something about this game that, when I think about it from like a zoomed out perspective, it feels really pointless in a way. And there's always the argument that like, oh, games are pointless anyway. It's all entertainment, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It's whatever. But I don't know. It's just. Am I making sense?
Look, yes and no. I think.
Because it's the point of the game.
Yeah, but I think also like wait for the full game. I will say.
I guess.
I like what?
It's a really big beta. It's huge.
Oh yeah. There's a wonderful story that was told on Giant Bomb once between Ed Boon, who is the creator of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and still the current creative lead of Mortal Kombat, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dave Lang, who is another game developer. And like Ed Boon disputes this because it's such a ridiculous thing to say, but like he disputes it with a giant laugh. That the very first time he saw people play World of Warcraft, it was in their office and everyone was just playing this game, you know, because it was World of Warcraft when World of Warcraft came out, right? And it was everybody.
Huge. Yeah.
And Ed Boon walked up to someone playing the game and leans over and goes like, "So what is this, like a jogging simulator?" Which is so fucking funny.
That's so funny because you do a lot of running in World of
You do
Warcraft.
fucking, and you know, and you know, and he jokes and he goes like, "How else would I know? Like, right? 'Cause who would have known?" He saw 8 people playing that game; they were all jogging. But fuck, that's funny, and also it kind of reminds me a little bit of how you're saying right now, and you know, it's not quite the same thing, but like there's a lot, like yeah, like I think, you know, I am not like a huge Diablo person, but like
you and June both got into 3, right?
Like I played a bit of it, like I never finished it. I mostly played with people, but it was like I could never wrangle people to play it all the time,
Right.
and so I never got super far. But also like Diablo 3, like what I played, it's like, oh, like this is just like the best one of these.
Yeah.
And like I've played others. Like I played, like the one I played the most is probably Van Helsing, which is another you know, top-down looting game, but it's all
action RPG.
Yeah, but it's all vampires and it's all werewolves and lichens and stuff. Which is, you know, similar aesthetic. And that game was really fucking good. And it's like, and like that game I think is the closest I know of that's like, yeah, like this is like a really good Diablo. Like when they're good, it's really easy, I think, to get sucked in.
100%. And that's here too.
And it's also like, I think the thing is though, it's like you lose those hours. Like those are not hours where you are like doing things 100%. You're not doing like specific tasks even a lot of the time. It's like there's
another dungeon and that's like 25-35 minutes gone,
and like those 25-35 minutes are like seamless.
Yeah,
they are wonderful hours that I have no idea what I did, and I understand that feeds into your like it feels semi pointless because you don't really know what you're doing, but also
the thing is I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah, but like are you like in a holistic way, or in a like, no, I'm walking to this room and then walking to this room and figuring out this puzzle? Or is
for me, it's like, there's a dungeon that'll be like full of monsters to kill and some loot, and then I can sell all the loot, and then I can move on, and I'll also unlock an aspect after I defeat the boss, and then I'll keep exploring. Like I get it,
but that's what I mean in terms of like you're not doing a like a dungeon in Destiny is like a task, right? And you are doing beats that take a while, but like you're doing like a beats.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a like an overall goal with Destiny that's pretty clear, which is to raise your power level.
Yeah, and I think Diablo is a game of like, this is the game that I buy so I can play this for the next 5 years. Which is like it's smoother in that regard. There is less bumps, but there's also less edges to have a refined shape of what you were doing. It is a lot more flowy, like a river, the River Diablo.
The River Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like it does all flow together. And that's what I mean. And that's what you mean when you say like, oh, this is the best one of these. It's hard for me to feel like especially after the time where I've just bought back into Destiny for the first time. For the hard, like, just bought back into Destiny the hardest for the first time in years.
Since like Taken King.
I didn't play it.
Sorry, Forsaken, sorry.
Yeah, basically since Forsaken. Like, Jeremy, I'm at the powerful level cap. I'm at the bit where you like only level up by getting the like powerful and pinnacle rewards for the week. And I don't remember the last time I was there.
Yeah.
And so to feel like there's a point and there's a purpose to this where there's no fun in this world in terms of the story. No one's having fun. There's no jokes.
Oh, there are jokes. It's darker, but there are jokes.
Yeah. There hasn't really been any in this so far.
Okay.
Like, oh, my husband was a hard man to love, and now he's dead. The winter won't even take him. Like, or like now that he's dead during winter, the ground won't even take him because the ground's frozen over. That's what it was. So they can't bury him. It's like, oh, that's. See you next week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not fun. And like, there's no like music. It's just like creepy dungeon noises. And then all the story is like, oh my God, this is just tragedy. Every mission. I don't know, man. It might just not be for me.
It might just not be for you. Like, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
like the story's interesting. I kind of want to see where it goes, but I also know that because my character has to survive, then I'm going to be introduced to all these NPCs along the way, and they're going to have these tragedies before them that I can't stop because you have to be shown the stakes and go along with it to be shown the gravity of the situation. But it can't happen to you because you're the character who's going to get to the end and defeat the boss.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that you're one for enjoying sorrow.
No, not especially.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, this thing is making me think about how awful this would be in real life. Don't love that. don't really want to think about that. Yeah. I'm not really getting anything out of that except sadness.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh yeah.
Like there was this this is just the podcast of going too long. But there was this sort of moment I felt in like mid 2010s coming into Game of Thrones and Walking Dead on TV and Breaking Bad all on TV, coming into Walking Dead, the series, The Last of Us. And I remembered looking at all of these popular franchises and these things that were breaking through, like The Witcher, and thinking like, why right now have the most popular media properties become so much about being fucking miserable or anger or hatred or gory violence? Why is it all about these sort of negative feelings? Like that's part of why I think I responded so much to Ted Lasso last year, was because of how positive it was, and also saying something unique and interesting and still being as sort of intellectually gratifying to understand and grapple with and pull apart and watch each week, compared to something like Breaking Bad. Maybe not Breaking Bad. That's a bit of that's a tall bar. And I just remember thinking like, well, yeah, what's this obsession we have right now with, we have to, if the media can make us feel emotion, then it's fascinating. So let's make everyone feel terrible emotions because that's easier to do than positive ones. I don't know. That's what it felt like to me for a while. And so I kind of, coming into this feels like that in another way. And I know it's the point. It's just I never experienced it. I've never even heard of the story of Diablo before. And so I'm coming in and I'm watching cutscenes. I'm like, fuck, this is brutal.
Yeah.
And I'm handling it. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this for 100 hours.
And like, I think a lot of those things that you talk about, like, you know, the era of, you know, like upsetting, you know, narratives and deeply flawed and uncomfortable and, you know, terrible lead characters and stuff. Like that in turn was a rejection of what it was previously, which was like no stakes, like, you know, happy endings, no real advancement of character a lot of the time. Because one of the most fascinating things you can do to someone is give them struggle, right? You know, because that's, it was also a representation of everyday life. You know, it was like, let's not shy away from, you know, really upsetting and all, like, you know, people deal with upsetting things all the time. There is no reason that media should not also, and I'm not saying that it should, but like, there was the...
And it also is worth mentioning, like, I enjoy watching Breaking Bad for the most part. I enjoy...
You don't like that last season,
playing The Walking Dead, not those last episodes. I can't... Yeah, I've got like a mental block there.
Yeah, because it's too much for you.
It's too awful. Yeah. Anyway, those are just random thoughts. I probably won't pick it up for myself.
Right.
Partially because it's Activision Blizzard. I might end up playing it for work, but we'll see. If I do, that'll be an interesting rabbit hole to disappear into.
Yeah.
Let
me tell you about a game called Gubbins, Kerry.
Please. Meanwhile, I will look it up.
Gubbins,
because I heard about it. It was on sale this week or something.
It is soft launched in Australia and New Zealand territories on iPhone, I believe.
Oh, terrible SEO! It does not come up when you search Gubbins. I think it brought up a maps location.
Ooh.
Tim Gubbins tax preparation service.
Yeah, that's the one.
Gubbins Mitre 10.
Gubbins is a game on the iPhone, which is a word game, not unlike Scrabble. But instead of Scrabble, you get not just singular letters, but bunches of letters, as well. Where you have a blank board and you have to make words. The Scrabble rules intact of, like, different, the longer the words with the more complicated letters, the higher points you get. There is a daily mode, which is like, they also put some letters in there already. And there is a classic mode, which is just like, you basically expend all of your letters that you get, which are done in stacks, not unlike Mahjong, where you like, all the letters you get are at the bottom.
Upwards.
Huh?
Sorry, never mind.
What the fuck is
upward? It's like a Scrabble spin-off that no one knows. Don't worry about it.
Right, I'm so glad you interrupted me.
Sorry, I was just excited.
Where like the letters you've got are in a stack at the bottom, and as you get rid of the letters at the bottom, more and more appear below, but you gotta clear it all out before you can pick the ones from below. That is only half of the game. The other half of the game is the actual Gubbins themselves. Now, these Gubbins are little monsters, where they will appear either in your stack or already on the board. And there are good Gubbins and there are bad Gubbins. Good Gubbins will help you make more words. Bad Gubbins will fuck up your board so that as you're trying to put together a word, it will get in the way or move some letters around. And all the Gubbins are very, very wonderfully drawn and animated. Here is the cherry Gubbins, Kerry. This returns all the letter tiles to the row, like on this row.
They're both smiling.
To the draw pile. It's a good Gubbins. Here's a bad Gubbins, the lemon. On expiration, adds 4 letters randomly to empty spaces adjacent to it.
Why is a lemon Gubbin bad?
Because of the effect. We have the bad...
I love lemons.
The bad mushroom Gubbins, which is after placing a tile, it spawns a copy of the Gubbin randomly on the board, not unlike spores. Another good Gubbin is this trumpet. When placed, it turns the consecutive letters beyond it into ing, so you can make an easy ing word. There are many wonderful Gubbins, both good and bad, all through the game. One of my favorite ones is the cassette, which after placing a tile, it adds a random 3-letter word to the cassette's row. So you get a free word.
That's cool.
And it looks like this.
Oh, it's walking on the tape.
Wonderful, isn't it? Gubbins is made
clever.
in Melbourne. I played it at PAX last year. was good fun. It's on the phone now. Really, really fun. Having a good time. Let me tell you about why this game is so good.
Yeah, sure.
At the end, the final 3 letters you get at the end of every one of your matches is the letters F-I-N, fin. The moment you place that, the game ends. You get your score. That's all good and fun. What you get after that is you get the ability to make a postcard, Kerry. And so what the postcard entails is you get to choose from a bunch of different backgrounds. You get to place Gubbins on the postcard as well if you'd like. But then you also get a list of every word you used in that specific match. You could create a poem. You could create a phrase. You create an album cover. There are many various things you can create in Gubbins.
Jeremy, what have you created?
I'm going to share a couple with you, Kerry. The first one, I got some funny words in the first one. This one doesn't look dissimilar to a sign you might see on the side of the road for an RSL. RSL is a word in Gubbins. Plenty of words in Gubbins.
That's funny.
This one is advertising sexy nude Biden, which was a funny little postcard that I could make with the words that I got in that Gubbins match.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a similar version to that with a maybe,
a little remix.
Yeah, a bit more emphasis on the RSL on that one, but big old sexy nude and Biden written on that one.
Got to get people into the RSL somehow.
Exactly. This one, not on like an album cover. I wanted to see if I could remix something that looks like an album cover. This one is for weed fans. For people who are really into different types of music, you might be one of those weed fans. And finally, Kerry.
Music? Different types of music?
Yeah, it's an album. It's music on an album. This one is maybe my favorite that I've done. This one is Gay Bitch Link.
Oh, no.
There are various words you can pick in Gubbins.
Goodness me. You can put in swears?
Oh, of course you can put in their words.
That is excellent.
Whatever words you want, bud. And finally, this one is not actually a postcard, but I just wanted to share with you one of the final graphics that was given to me as I won the game. I don't actually know what this is, but I'm glad that I saw it. It's just like some dude just in the front drinking an ale. After I finished.
Uh-huh.
I just like the look of him. I think it's good.
That dude is heavily featured in their reveal trailer.
Gubbins is good. You should play Gubbins. If anyone who has an iPhone, you should definitely play Gubbins. It is not an Android currently, as of yet, unfortunately.
Good. I don't have to worry about it for right now then.
But you should definitely, if you have an iPhone, definitely go play Gubbins. It's a great time. Alex is in the chat, being 100% correct, as per usual, saying that their PAX booth was so cute. It was. They had a wonderful, wonderful booth there. Yeah. Play Gubbins. Gubbins is good.
I dare you to say Gubbins one more time.
And but the Gubbins themselves are great is the thing. Like the name is, it's such good mouth feel. Gubbins.
I know that word is that was something like Gavin Free would say a lot. I feel like watching old Achievement Hunter.
Yeah, I would believe that.
Is that a British word?
I don't know. It's an Australian game. It's worth mentioning that Gubbins is still in somewhat of development. It is not a full-fledged release at the moment. They do say that currently there was no monetization in the game, but that will change at some point. So expect some features that are available to perhaps not be available for the free version of the game once they figure all that stuff out. But for now, the game is just available for you to play.
There you go. Come get your Gubbins.
Get your Gubbins. It's fucking good. It's so funny.
What other game lets you write gay bitch link?
It's so true. What other game? They won't even let me write that on the fucking Switch sharing my tweet.
That's true. They wouldn't let you do that.
I hate that. I hate that they censor that.
you should tweet that Gubbins image.
Oh, I've been, yeah. Oh, don't you worry.
There's plans.
Yeah.
I see. The wheels are in motion.
Yes.
Are we going to leave it there, Jeremy, or did you want to get to one of your other games?
No, that's it.
Well, that's it, everyone, then. You came and got your Gubbins.
You got your Gubbins.
You came and got your demonic confusion from me. You got your definitive Pokemon ranking. What more do you need? Nothing. That's it. You're set for the week, everybody. Well done. You made it. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of the MiniMapCast. That brings us to the end of the MiniMapCast for the week. If you want to listen to more of us, there is plenty more of this on minimap.com.au, and as well as everything else Minimap related, including the Mini Disc podcast. We are recording an episode of that hopefully in the next few weeks. It's a little up in the air, but we'll try and get something out for you at the start of April. The best way to make sure you don't miss a new episode of Mini Disc or a new episode of the Minimap Cast or anything else Minimap related, you can follow all of our socials. The handle is at MinimapAU. You could follow us individually as well if you would like. Jeremy, where can they follow you on Twitter?
At Obi-Wan
You could follow me on Twitter at KJPalmer_24. Almost forgot my Twitter handle again. And yeah, for those of you that are live with us on Twitch, stick around. We're about to start the post show. Try and come up with a good name for the show. I think I've got a couple of contenders. I liked your one there at the start, Jeremy. Come get your Gubbins. For those of you listening later, make sure to give us those oh so tasty 5-star ratings. It helps out a lot. And consider joining us next week for the live show. Lastly, if you wanted to, and you can, also support us on Patreon if you want to help keep the mics and lights on. You could do that by heading on over to patreon.com/minimapau. And for $5 Australian dues, you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the Minimap Cast, all while helping us out greatly. We're gonna go now, and that's gonna be it. Be back next week to hear about a game that rhymes with President Weevil. Have a good week, everyone. We'll see you then.
President Weevil.